Okay then guys, I had to make this video. I know I've been putting all this type of content on the new platform, on the new course, which you can see links below. Our best-selling ever supplement, which I'm focusing on completely now, just the one supplement. It just makes so much more sense. I'll explain in another video, but this is gonna be a long one, so I don't want to waste the intro. We got a new course, Marathon Mindset, Life Setup and Framing. I think it's tremendous. I'm just about to upload another two 42-minute videos up to it. So, I mean, the amount of content now is probably up to like 7, 8 hours worth of content and climb. Like every day I'm adding 2 or 3 videos. I think it's the best work I've ever done. So if you want to check that out, links are below. And our streaming platform, which is almost like Netflix for men, but in the early stages. So, you know, just enjoy it. Bear with us, guys. Subscribe, unsubscribe. Like, just see what happens in the next 2, 3 years or so. It's a long plan for me. The other two are short-term projects where I'm focused on them now. The stream platform, chipping away at it over time. But if you want to check them out, links are below. But I had to make this video. And my friend called me last night. Actually, I think I called him and I was just having a chat about plans for 2024, what he thinks. He's been in the social media game. And I was like, what's your opinion on this? And he just brought up Gary Vee. And he brought up that he's got a new wife or something, right? I'm just I'm laughing my head off. Like immediately just laughing my head off. And I go and check it out. And it turns out to be this, I'll bring it up on screen now, this like 38-year-old woman who's, you know, really attractive woman. Do you know what I mean? 38, like, there's going to be more attractive women in the world. I'm not like saying that she's the hottest thing ever and getting carried away. But like, Gary Vee, do you know what I mean? Like, I've made videos before in the past where I've said, and you guys will remember, where I've spoken about how Gary Vee's making all this money, but he always looks tired and he's got no life setup. Do you know what I mean? I've always explained those videos and always found it funny. But you look here, he's with a 38-year-old beautiful woman, right? And I just couldn't stop laughing because he's the family guy. Do you know what I mean? He's always promoting family. Like, I've got some quotes here. It's simple. Be a good person and good things happen. Okay? And reports are he was cheating on his wife in 2019 onwards with this woman. So, and then this one, which I find hilarious. Love your family, work super hard, live your passion. Now, I'm not saying that Gary Vee doesn't love his family. I'm sure he loved his wife and his kids and stuff, right? But it's just a little bit hypocritical. You know, you got him on stage being like, guys, work hard this year, believe in yourself, love your family. My wife means everything to me. She's the reason I'm here today. I give all credit. And then he's going on a date with this other woman. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, everything I've said from day one has been true. Everything I've ever said. And there's been moments along the way where you ever so slightly doubt yourself. You want to maybe change slightly about what you said and whatnot. I've had this men's lifestyle stuff figured out since I was like 19. I made videos. My first ever video, and this is why I think I'm going to title this video very similar to that one, which was I think my first ever video was why men should stay single for longer. I don't even think I showed my face at the time, so I might make this the part 2 version, so that you can see all those years later, everything I said was correct. It's literally like 6, 7 years later from when I made that video, and I wrote an article on that same topic like 10 years ago, right? So how did I know all of this? How could I predict it all 10 years in advance? How did, you know, the kind of like, I give examples, but then you've got those like guys who changed the game. You know, those outliers, Gary Vee, where it's like, but then you have a guy like Gary Vee who's with a woman just for her personality and how she makes him feel, and he'll never, and then he does it. He does the same thing that I've been talking about for years. And I swear to God, I couldn't stop laughing on the phone to my friend. I was like, look at this. I was like, I feel so vindicated. I said, look, I shouldn't be sat here smiling and be happy that 2 people have got divorced. And I'm not necessarily happy. I just feel vindicated that like I've been speaking about all this stuff for so many years. And I always get seen as the bad guy. Everyone gives me grief. You know, girls that I'm dating are like, oh, what? So in like 5 years' time, when I'm ugly, you're going to leave me. And I have to deal with so much garbage, which is a big reason why I've taken all this off channel and put it all on, you know, this new course. But I've got to deal with all this grief. But in reality, it's guys like this that are actually hurting people. Because I'm being very open and honest and telling the exact facts and story about how relationships work and why men and women should have at least a 10-year age gap and stuff like that. And I just get called all the names under the sun and all this. And I had to battle through all of this in the early days when everyone said, oh, this guy's just using cope and copium and all this stuff. And now it's just like, I've been proven right again. And you do a little bit of digging, a little bit of research, and you're like, it's just happening time and time and time again. And people look at, and we'll dive into all this in a minute, but people look at Leonardo DiCaprio and they think they know what he's doing. Some people call him a pedophile. Some people call him a creep or whatnot. And they're like, once they get to 25, he gets rid of them. Do you know how stupid that would be? Like, he's not doing that. He's not childish. From one guy that has, I think, a similar mindset to what Leo does, who understands what he's doing long-term dating and he's enjoying all the fun bits at the start. You know, when sex is new, the relationship's new, you're learning about each other. She's more lenient. When you first meet a girl, you're like, oh, I can't see you for 2 weeks, I'm busy, I'm doing something. Yeah, no worries, I'll see you soon. Like, there's no drama, there's no arguments. Oh, but I really wanted to see you. Do you know what I mean? He's enjoying that stage. And then when they get to the point where, and it probably, you know, it's probably the body clock of 25. They're probably hitting 25 and then going, well, what are we? We've been dating a while. What are we? Are we going to settle down? Are we going to have a relationship? And he's probably like, oh, I wish you didn't say that. I was enjoying it until then. Bye. Do you know what I mean? It's a commitment thing with Leo because he looks at it. He looks at people like Brad Pitt, who's 60, who's dating a 31-year-old. And I think he's just like, this isn't going to end. No, I think he should have some kids unless he doesn't want them. You know, I think he's left it a bit late. Not late. I think he can definitely still have them and have a normal life. But what I'm saying is, the age he is now is probably like in your 40s. Do you know what I mean? It's not the worst time ever. But he's probably having the time of his life. He's seeing guys far older than him. Like Michael Rubin, who we'll get to in here, Gary Vee, who's just got obviously a new woman and whatnot. He's seeing that. Brad Pitt is 60 and he's probably going, what's the rush for me? Like, what's the problem here? This isn't going to end. And the thing is, and this is where we get into the video, guys only settle down for two reasons. Number one, because they can't get anyone. That's the truth, right? Whenever I've been in a situation where I've had like what's coined as a dry spell, or I've thought, ooh, maybe I'm getting older here. Maybe this isn't working out. Which was like in my 20s. I've settled down. I remember I had my first girlfriend because I'd gone a few weeks where I'd gone out and hadn't had any girls. And I was like, what the hell's happening? I better get a girlfriend. It's over for me. And I was like 21. And then I roughly did the same around about 25-ish. 26, 25-ish. Where I was just like, oh, do you know what? Actually, this could be a great option. It turned out it was. You know, I've got nothing bad to say about that woman. You guys know her. But it was from a point of kind of lack. Now, the other reason guys settle down is because they believe that they've met somebody that ticks all boxes. And they don't want to look elsewhere. So you're with a woman who you think is so great that if another great, beautiful woman walked into the room, you'd be like, yeah, she's gorgeous, but I don't want to ruin what I've got with her. That's the perfect scenario. Okay, that is the perfect scenario. If you have that, then keep it, run with it, see where it goes. My danger is a lot of people think they've found that. And this is where we get into this video, like I said. A lot of guys are 27, most dangerous age, as I've said to you guys before. They'll settle down with the first semi-beautiful woman that finds them attractive. And they're like, oh, this is good. I've never had a woman this hot before. This is incredible. I'm enjoying the sex. Fair enough. And then they just, you know, they think, okay, well, this is the one, obviously. But if he's 27 and let's say she's 26, the thing is, if you're not an ambitious guy, if you don't want success or you've hit your roof of success and you're like, I'm done, I'm checked out, I just want to go forward with this woman now. Like, my ambitions itch has been scratched. Then great, settle down. You know, if you're the type of guy who just wants to stay in a 9-to-5 job in a factory for the rest of his life and who just wants to eat shit and just kind of, I need that swear jar. I'm clocking it up in my head. I think I'm up to about £3. I'm going to do a pound instead of 50p, like I said before. But if you're the type of guy who's doing that, who's living that lifestyle, who's just like, I want to eat whatever I want, or I don't want to go to the gym, I'm a lazy guy, settle down, get married. You know, play the female role where you're like, I need to cuff somebody quick before I'm over the hill, because this is going to be a nightmare for me. I get that. But if you're an ambitious guy who is staying in shape, wants to keep pushing success-wise, more money, etc., it's not a good strategy. Because historically, and we've seen, and we'll go through it here, and I'll present the evidence to you, because there will be doubters, and guys that always say silly things like copium, which I always find so weird. When you get older, you'll figure it out, but I always find that so strange. But if you're one of those guys who wants to push it and wants to see how far he can actually take this, the problem is, you're 27, she's 26. Right now, there's two components to this. Right now, you're at a certain wealth level, a certain life level. You're a certain person. I'm molding the two in together here. And you both suit very well, okay? Let's say you get to 37 and you're crushing it. You've been crushing it for the last 10 years. You've got so much money, you don't know what to do with it. And naturally, which there's nothing wrong with, a 37-year-old woman will not look as good, or 36-year-old woman will not look as good as a 26-year-old woman, right? She might in the odd rare case, but in the majority of cases, if we're being adults here, they don't look as good, right? For multiple different factors. Now, should that matter? No. In an idealistic world, it shouldn't matter. Love should come first. But as we've seen with Gary Vee, it does matter. Because the problem is with men, and I'm the one who's honest and I'll tell you this, because number one, I don't think it's a good idea for you, because I think your life's gonna improve, you're gonna become better, and then you're gonna go, oh, actually, I feel like I've just wasted a whole chunk of my life there. I didn't realize things were gonna get better. I love my wife. She's 36, I'm 37, you know, I love her, but that 23-year-old keeps staring at me in the gym. I think something could happen, right? It's just, that's men. And the problem is, the second thing that I'm protecting people against, but people don't see, is my mum and dad broke up, right? And my mum always said the only person it truly hurts is the kids. And this is what I never want to happen to me or you guys or any of the women out there, is that you get with a woman at 26, you promise her the world. By 36, you're rich as hell, and you're going, I kind of want a younger model, right? That's not fair on her, it's not fair on the kids, because now you're throwing a 36-year-old woman back into the dating market, which is just, it's a horrendous place to be. She will eventually find somebody, but it's a horrendous place to be. She would have much rather have you at 27 and said, do you know what? Smart decision here. I need to focus on my business work. This is, you know, I don't want to commit to anything yet. If you want that, then I'm going to let you be. I'm going to end this relationship. You go and find somebody who does want something long-term, who's maybe less ambitious than me or who's older than me that this age gap is perfect for. I'm going to move on. There'll be more opportunities for me in the future. And guys, what they do is they're fearful of being alone forever. And what a lot of men do is they want the women in the future, but they'll take the woman now. So they're like, oh no, she's great for now. She keeps me happy. Oh, I've got somebody. Oh, I'm comfortable. Okay, good. I've got somebody. Nice. This is a very scarce mindset. People do it with cars, houses, everything. Oh, I've got something for now. It's like getting a job. Oh, I've got a job for now. It's not my dream job. It's not the job I really want, but I've got something for now. Good. I can relax. That's not fair. That's rude. That's not fair. I don't like that. Okay? I was recently with a woman who I thought was perfect in every single sense. Beautiful, you know, she ticks every single box, except one or two that annoyed me. So I ended it. I'm a 31-year-old man. People, oh, you're crazy. Why are you doing that? She would have been great. You could have wifed it. She was definitely a wife. I don't think so. You know, maybe I was wrong. Whatever. It doesn't really matter because I'm not 31 sat there panicking. Whereas a lot of guys will be there going, oh, I better. This is the unfair part, because I'm not thinking of me here, I'm thinking of her. The unfair part would be that I just lie and I'm like, yeah, I love you, let's settle down, let's get married, whatever, let's have kids. And then I'm like, 5 years down the line, okay, things have got even better for me. I'm more successful. I look better. I've got better assets. I'm traveling the world. I'm more interesting as a prospect. Oh, that model really likes me. Should I just leave the woman that I'm currently with? And it's like, you always knew that was going to happen. You just took the comfort route of taking, I need somebody now, but if something better comes along, I'll take that. For me, that's not fair, right? Now, the second part of this, third part, I guess, but second part of a different category, is that a lot of guys are only as loyal as their options. And it's sad to say, and you don't want to believe from a human element that we live in a world where a prettier girl comes along and guy leaves. But my God, does it happen a lot? Does it happen a lot? And you look at somebody like Gary Vee, little dorky, weedy kid when he was younger. Let's bring up some pictures. This will probably help. So here he is. Do you know what I mean? We all know what that's like. We've all been in that boat when we were younger. That's optionless. You know, the only girls that are going to get with you are, no disrespect, I just like being honest because it seems to have been, you know, correct all along when everyone else was telling garbage. That was his wife. Truth be told, and like I said, I'm not here to offend anybody. I thought it was his mum. I honestly thought he took a picture with his mum. But this is, when Gary Vee's at that early stage, that woman's taken a likeness to him and he's gone, I've got no other options. Yeah, I think I love you. As good as he is at business and giving advice and whatever, hopeless with this sort of stuff because he's never had the experience. He's never had the women. So when she came along, he was probably like, yeah, this is better than being on my own on a Saturday night. Convinced himself that it's love and it's all this stuff, right? And telling everybody family's more important. She's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's helped me through. I'm sure she has. But as soon as it turns to this Gary Vee, you know, a little bit more tanned, a little bit sharper. He looks well rested. He's dropped his body fat, hired a personal trainer. Like, this is a different animal compared to the Gary Vee we've seen over here, right? And this is what men do. If you're watching this, if you're getting offended, do not get offended. Like, listen, because this is going to save you in the future. You're going to actually be able to make a decent choice. I promise you. Like, but whatever. That guy's a different animal. That's a different beast. That's an attractive guy. That's just some dweeb at school. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably even a deeper voice here as well. Squeakier there. Like, way more money. He's famous as, you know, he's famous there. He's got all these people around him, and he's rubbing shoulders with celebrities. Like, this is a different animal, right? Okay. So once he gets to this stage, and he starts getting the attention of women like this, who, like my friend said yesterday, she's a businesswoman. I think she might even be a doctor. I did a quick bit of research. She's probably gone to one of his seminars, chatted with him, then jumped in the DMs afterwards, or like, oh, you know, if you ever want help with this and that, and Gary's followed it up, or she's followed it up, or whatever. It's hard when you're looking at the pictures and whatever, and you're chatting back and forth, and you're like, oh, actually, I really like her personality. It's hard to, what should we use? I don't want to be disrespectful here. That's not what this channel's about at all, okay? But let's just look at the two women side by side. It's hard for Gary to not go, ooh. Do you know what I mean? And let's be honest. It's hard. As much as you could love this woman, this is men, right? And this isn't it's quite hard not to swear, isn't it, guys? This isn't like a belittling men video. Stay to the end and I'll spin it and show you why this is for you guys and what you should do and how you can benefit your own life. It's going to make perfect sense. But it's hard as a man who's had this is your option for your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're getting attention off a woman like that. It's tough. It's extremely tough. Like, people who tell you it's not are liars, because Gary's told you it's not for years. He's told you family first, love my wife. If it wasn't for her, never showed her on camera, I never show my family. I don't want to do that. Gets with this woman, just public pictures, out at parties, at Michael Rubin's party with her, promoting her nonstop, because he's proud of the way she looks. Right? This is a real thing. Guys won't tell you this. Oh, that's delicious. But this is a real thing. We I'll pit this to you right now, men and women, okay? If you're a woman, think from a female perspective. If you're a man, think from a male perspective. It should be pretty easy. How long, and this is from a human perspective actually, this is men and women together. Same mindset. From a human perspective, let's all be adults. This isn't some red pill channel. It's not what we do here. We try and benefit people's lives. We have real discussions that can actually help people. From a human point of view, from a human element, how many years can you jump into bed with somebody you don't find attractive? Serious question to the women out there, to the men out there. How many years can you do that for? It's tough. It's really tough. If you see your partner gaining weight, not looking like he or she used to, you know, that's just one element, but that's tough to keep hopping into bed and be like, I don't really find you attractive anymore. I'm not as excited about sex anymore, but I'm going to force myself to do it because I love you. How long can you keep that going for? Because I'm telling you, it's tough. It's very tough. Anybody who's been in a long-term relationship will tell you, when you first get together, it's a lot of sex. Years later, you're like, oh, it's just kind of like my best friends. And then when you do have sex, you're like, oh yeah, what a nice reminder. But you're just kind of like, we're kind of friends. If you've then got better options for the first time ever in your life, happening in your late 30s, early 40s, whatever it might be for you. I don't know when it might be when you get together with your first wife, woman, whatever it might be. It's then like your brain just, it's hard to fight. I'm just putting it that way. It's hard to fight. And the guys who tell you differently and, oh, I love a friend, they're liars. Because friends of mine, and not close friends, I never talk about my close friends in videos, just to confirm that so people know. Unless it's a really positive light. Unless it's something amazing, I want to big them up and promote them. But like my secondary circle of friends, third group of friends, whatnot, so that it's a little bit more isolated or further away from me, a bit more distant, so people don't know specifically who it is, because otherwise, you know, people we know could trace back. I'm with them hanging out, and they've got girlfriends, wives, etc. And you bring a certain woman around them that you're dating, or you have a woman walk past you on the street, or you're in the gym talking to each other and a woman walks past, and they're like that. For 5 minutes, they were talking about how much they love their wife and how she's the best thing that ever happened to them, and how, yeah, I'm so happy with my life, like wouldn't want to change it for the world. I'm so glad I got the kid. Who the hell is that? And it's like, there it is, man. You could say whatever you want, but actions speak louder than words. And you know, it's a shame. It's sad to think we live in such a world where, you know, a nice body and a beautiful face can just destroy an entire marriage. 20 years of being together, I've seen it happen. You know, I've seen it happen firsthand with people that I know and whatnot. But it's just the younger woman comes along, says the right thing. She's brighter, happier. She wants to go out more, and you know, the sex is exciting and whatnot. And she looks completely different. Yeah, a lot of guys are going to take that. Right, and Gary Vee's a perfect example of that, because he is the family guy. He's a guy that's been promoting it for years, and he's been kind of the counterpart, not him directly, but like he is the counterpart to my views. I've said for a long time, and here's where it comes into the guys, I think men should stay single for longer. I think they should focus on business. I think they should all work or whatnot. I think they should rise up in their career. I think along the way they should do long-term dating, where you don't actually ever commit, but you just long-term date individual women, you have fun, you be open and honest. I've said to girls, like, I don't want anything from this. I just, you know, we're going to enjoy each other's time together. You know, if you get to a point where you want it to be serious, I very likely won't. On day one, if you don't want that to be the case, if you're not ready for that, then move on. And they appreciate the honesty, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you have a guy like Gary who said openly, you know, it's family first, she's my wife forever, and all this stuff. And then he just goes and does the same thing that I've been predicting and saying guys do anyway. You know, Chris Rock always said men are only as loyal as their options. Yeah. You know, I think it's much more admirable when a guy's got hundreds of women that want to sleep with him, and then he picks the best one and then settles down with that woman, than a guy who just goes, there's no one else, she'll do, and then he's in a marriage for like 20 years and people are like, oh, what a great guy. And it's like, but he's never had the choice. Given the choice, he probably would. He's just never had the choice to leave. You know, he knows if he does leave, he's on his own. I think it's much more admirable the guy who turns them down. You know, the other guy, we don't know. Give him the power, and it could be completely different, but we don't know, right? So my advice, and we're going to go through all this now, but my advice to you guys watching this, especially you younger guys, and like coming from a 31-year-old man who's saying to you, I've got all the time in the world. This is like, I don't want to go into detail. I am in my course, but on the open internet where anybody can watch it, I don't want to go into detail, but it's good right now. That's all I'll say. Like, it's never been better. It's never been easier. I won't go into detail, but it's great. I think guys should just stay single for longer because, and I'll give you the example. I'm sure Gary doesn't regret his kids, and I'm sure he loves his kids, right? But it kind of defeats the object. Remember when I used to say to you guys, buy a car, the first car, your base standard car, the one that just gets you from A to B. Mine was a Range Rover, wasn't even that expensive, but it was perfect for filming, driving to London. I needed something reliable. I needed all the camera equipment in the back and whatnot. I could then upgrade it to a newer Range Rover, and then a Defender, and then you go and get your Lamborghini and whatever. There's so much money being spent before you get to your final car. I think buy the first one, and then make the giant leap to your end car. Whatever you want at the end. There's no point buying the little increments in between. That's how stupid money's spent. You know, people who buy an iPhone every single year. Like, the person tomorrow could just go, yeah, they're doing this in Africa. Instead of going through like the Nokias and all the like older phones, they've just gone, I don't have a phone. I've now got the latest iPhone. They're just making this straight leap. And it's just saving time and everything. It's just such a better strategy. You know, if you did it with your house as well, like people upgrade their house every 5 to 10, like every 10 years or so. If you had just like scrimped and stayed in that first house, the amount of money you would have saved, you would have got your final house way sooner. Do you see what I mean? And I think it's the same with women, marriage, settling down, starting your family. If you know that you're an ambitious guy and you're only going to get better and you're going to keep improving, and you know, you do, back of your head, you know that that woman on the left is probably going to be yours one day. She's going to start finding you attractive. And she's, you know, I think he's 48, she's 38, 10-year age gap. Wow, like, was I right? Okay. And you know that a woman like that in her 30s or late 20s or whatever is going to find you attractive. It kind of just defeats the object. You know, you're just wasting time. You're going through this whole marriage and like this fake life, and you're doing this whole thing. You're starting your family. You're putting all your money and time into this, only to go, oh, actually, that's what I really want. So imagine if you had saved all that time and money, just purely focused on business, purely focused on yourself. If Gary had done that, right? If Gary didn't have his family, if he didn't have that wife at the time, and he had stayed single, and he might have kept insane, okay? But if he had just purely focused on himself, he might have had that woman at 40 years old, and he might be 5 times richer now. Do you see what I mean? He doesn't really need it. He's got enough money. How much is enough? Do you get what I mean? But he could have got to the stage he's at now where he actually looks pretty good. He could have got there 10 years earlier because he would have had all that time to be in the gym. Like, I assume he's met this woman and he's gone, I need a personal trainer. And then the personal trainer's like, why? Oh, you know, I'm just getting older. I just thought it was the right time to do it. My mum always said, like, she realized that my dad was cheating when he started buying new clothes and going to the gym. Like, it's just a thing that men do. They go, oh, actually, I think there's something on the cards here. So instead of doing all those down years where you're like, oh, I'm going to, you know, just be with this woman. I'm going to be a good guy. Just hold it off. Just hold it off and just keep improving. Keep reinvesting in yourself, because kids, marriage, mortgage, all this stuff is expensive. Imagine if you reinvested let's say it's $1 million over 10 years to have all that, to fund all that, because you're the man of the family. Let's say you put that $1 million at 28 back into yourself, your business, your body, your clothes, whatever. The man that you are at 38 would be able to get a woman that is 10 times better than the one you could have got at 28. Do you see what I mean? That's undoubtable. Anybody who doubts that is being an idiot. They're in denial. So then at 38, you settle down with the best woman you possibly could have got. Okay. Well, now chances are you're going to stay with her forever, because there's a decent enough age gap where you're going to age in tandem. It's going to work well. You know, you're happier because instead of settling for somebody that you could get at that time, okay, she's the best I can get now, you're working your way up, which is the masculine thing to do. People talk about, you know, a masculine man leads the family. The masculine thing to do is to reach your full potential and then go, okay, who do I actually want? Otherwise, you're just going to hurt people. Like there's The girl that I was with when I was 20, 21, she was unbelievably beautiful. Okay, everybody wanted her. I was broke at the time, but I was a fairly handsome guy, but I was probably lucky to get her, right? I was a complete loser, like business-wise, money-wise, and stuff like that. My car was terrible and whatnot, right? I was depressed, so like it wasn't going well. She today, and I don't think people will be able to trace back who it is. Yeah, it'll all be good. I don't want to offend her because she's a nice person. I know her family, but she doesn't look good. Okay, like you'd walk past her on the street. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just put it that way. She's about 4 times heavier. She doesn't look like it's just nature. It's just how it works, right? So if I had married her at the time, when I genuinely believe she was the love of my life, we were talking about marriage, relationships, settling down. She was naming kids and stuff. I even remember those names today. And sometimes I think, God, what could have been? That would have been a nightmare. Not that she was necessarily a bad woman, but I wouldn't have done and had what I had today. I would have also looked at her today with where I am, if I had got to where I am today, and I would have been like, oh, she's kind of holding me back now. You know, there's so much more that I could have. Like pretty much every guy that I know who's in a relationship who does a gym transformation goes, oh, if I was single, I know I could get so many different women. And it's like, I know you're thinking about it then, which is dangerous. It's harsh on the woman. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't have settled down if you didn't think she was the ultimate best. Put it this way. If she's not the woman, and I don't think men should masturbate at all, but if she's not the woman that you masturbate to, then that's a problem. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a relationship, this is your wife, but you're masturbating to this model every other night, that's a problem because that's who you really want. You really want that model. And if you could get her, you'd exchange your wife for her. That's a problem. That's a problem for you because you're not satisfied and you're going to be unhappy, secretly unhappy. And it's a problem for her because if you end up getting to a decent level in life, chances are you're going to leave her. Because that's what you've always truly wanted. You just settled. That's unfair. For me, that's rude. That's cruel. And I get called the bad guy. But for me, that's cruel. I think that's really horrible to just settle with somebody because you're so insecure. You just need somebody now. I'm getting older. I'm turning 30 soon. I just need somebody now. It's like, but you can't attract who you want now. Otherwise, you would have settled down, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. If you can't even date the level of woman that you've always fantasized about having, then, you know, and it's different for everybody. Some people are happy with less and it's different for everybody. But if yours is, and I'm not just necessarily saying beauty, I'm saying accomplishment, everything, the full package in your head. Because Gary's not just with her because she's intelligent, because she's beautiful. She's intelligent too. She runs her own business. She's got different qualities. It appears just on the kind of online signature, so to speak. But if you can't find that, if you can't date a woman like that right now, don't just settle for the woman that does like you right now because you're like, oh, well, I'm lonely. It's better than being on my own on a Saturday night. Because if things keep improving and you finally get to where you want to get in life, then you're just going to leave her, aren't you? That's rude. So let's go through some of these images, right? And this is what Gary's done. And I've watched a lot of Gary's videos and I love his content back in the day. But that's disingenuous. Like, I could have called that years ago. And like, we all knew what he was actually doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's as soon as you get to a certain level in life, oh yeah, I have access to these women now. Oh, I'm just going to leave my current wife, right? And people will say, oh no, it's because he was never there. He's like, trust me, the main reason is because there's other women that are way better looking that gave him he's never had a woman of that level in his life. And then he starts getting a few of them, actually find him attractive. Oh, I'm going to cash in on it. It's just male nature, right? But like I said, he seems like a decent guy. He seems happier now, which is the most important factor. But you shouldn't have done what you did in the first place. You know, if you knew that you wanted something higher, don't settle for what you currently like. If you know in 10 years' time, if you work hard, you're gonna have $1 million in the bank. Don't go and buy a house for 200,000 and be like, this will do for now. Like, just rent in a terrible place and save as much money as possible and get to your dream house quicker. Like I've always said to you guys, make the leap. Like, this place is beautiful, but it's cheap. It's cheap. I'm living in an area I don't want to be in, but it's cheap, and I'm saving a ton of money so that when I make the final leap, all in one go, I have everything I ever wanted, and I'll be like, this is what I dreamt of. Rather than going step by step, keep up with the Joneses, make sure everybody's happy. Oh, what's that? You want grandkids, Mum? Okay, well, I better do it with whoever's around right now. Like, no, I'm going to make the full leap and go, told you, Everything I ever wanted. 10 out of 10 in everything. Car, house, money, woman, like everything I ever wanted. There it is. Because I waited. You know, I worked until I got it rather than cashing in early and going, oh, and this isn't a real girl's name that I've dated, but like, oh, Sarah, can you just, you know, you'll do for now. Oh, yeah, I really love you. But really in my head, I'm thinking, nah, I just need somebody for the next 3-4 years because I'm sick of being alone on a Saturday night. Like, that's so unfair, man. I don't know how people support that. Like, I can see it a mile off, but then people give me grief. It's nuts. I think that's his wife most recently. Oh, it's 2012, but yes, I think that was his wife too, right? Um, like I said, I don't blame him. It's just be honest. Do you know what I mean? What the hell is going on here? I don't blame him. Like I would have done the same. I just wouldn't have settled here. Like, do you see the difference? I think that's what an honest man would do. What else have we got up here? So this is him with that woman, just as proof. So before, publicly, didn't want to promote his wife, his family, always said that. Now he's taking pictures with her, arm around her, love of my life, getting married again, you know, at parties and at Michael Rubin's parties. And it's just like, I knew it, man. Another example, let's move on. So we've got Elon Musk next. Just to prove this isn't a one-off, this is Elon Musk, who, right there, this is a fantastic option for him, okay? This is great. But as soon as you start making that money, and you can afford that hair transplant, which he did, you can afford the top personal trainers, and I imagine he's on testosterone too because his entire face has changed, which I don't blame him. It's a good thing to do at his age. Well, the age that he probably got on it at. Starts dressing better, you know, his success is going to the top, his fame's rising and whatnot. This woman's gone. Like, this I think is so rude. It's just a tale as old as time, right? That's why you need to... Here's the thing. If you get with a woman at 25, how do you know at 40 you're still going to be the same people? Do you know what I mean? There's 15 years later. A lot happens in 15 years. A lot happens in 2 years. Never mind 15. You get to 40 and you go, we're not matched anymore. We're completely different. You're not what I'm looking for anymore. That happens in life. You know, you buy a car and then 2-3 years later, you're like, why did I buy that? That doesn't really suit my life. Like, why the hell did I buy that? You buy a certain house and then you go, I don't even like this area. Oh, but, you know, 2 years ago I did. I loved it. Like, I thought this was the best decision of my life. You know, I had a podcast table in my living room. Now I despise podcasts for myself. I just don't want to be the guy who's got a podcast. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Other people have got them, but I don't want to be that guy. I wanted to go stream platform. But at the time, I spent like £800 on a podcast table, like £400 on new microphones, set it all up, trying to get guests on. This is going to be sick. This is going to blow up. 2 years later, or a year later, because it was only like a year and 2 months ago that I swapped all the house around with different furniture, you know, and I've changed my mind completely during that time frame. Like, things change, right? So what makes you think that your relationship views won't change? Your taste won't change? You know, you're with a woman at 21 with fake lips and fake boobs, and you love that, and all the guys love it. By 35, you're going, this doesn't look right. She's had like 50 different injections in there since. She's had these done 3 times. You look at her and you're going, I want a natural woman now. I've changed. Now that I'm more grown up, I'm not looking for a porn star. I don't watch porn as much as I used to. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking for a real woman now with a real person. It's going to change. So this is why I think it's so silly to just go, here's my hand, play it. Shit, no, I really regret that actually. You know, I'm going to backtrack on my decision and hurt everybody involved. That's just chaotic. And she's a 40-year-old woman back on the dating market. That's rough. It's horrible. And the kids are like, when are we going to see dad? It's like, I don't think people think this through and realize like what could be in the future, right? So that's Elon with his first woman. And I don't know this exact... Okay, I think that's his first woman again. Okay. Or second, maybe. It was very, you know, they actually look very similar. And then... Okay, so we'll get to that one later. So many here. Elon, you filthy guy. So he ends up with this woman who is beautiful, you know, obviously an actress and model and whatnot. So he's straight away, he's upgraded. He's gone up to the next level. So he's proven what he really wants. That's her again. You know, they break up, and now she's with another guy. Like, it's all these people at each point in time. All of these people have probably led in bed together and gone, "I love you. We're going to be together forever. I can't wait to get married. You're the one," and all this stuff. And like he left his first wife for her. They then split up. She then goes off with this guy and gets married. It's just chaos. And he went off with this woman, Grimes, right? So like completely different, like a younger, like an OnlyFans looking type of girl. Like he's now proving what he really likes. He's like every time he's got more money, more success, more fame and whatnot, and more options, he's going, "Oh, I'm going to exercise these and go for what I actually like." Now the other woman's beautiful, I get it, right? But it just seems as though each time he's just going for like a younger, prettier woman and whatnot. And then the latest reports are this woman. So it's like some 27-year-old model. This guy's what, in his 50 now, or in his 50s or something, and he's going for this 27-year-old model. This is her, right? Do you know, like he's going for girls that like guys in their 20s would want. I think I had one more as well. I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, this one. Right, so he's just upgrading his woman every single time. It's just getting better and better and better as he's getting older. Now, he's made enough money, right? But what I'm saying is he could have skipped all that drama in the early days and just ended up with her anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, this might last now. These two might go on forever, and he's going to marry this woman forever. Put, like, the age gap's big enough that she's always going to be beautiful during the time frame that he is young for, if that makes sense. It'll make sense when we get to Michael Douglas, right? Michael Douglas saving the day. But he's going to be happy with the way she looks for a long, long time, okay, with the options that he has. It might work out perfectly. So I'm just saying, like, what was the point in the early girls? Like, what was the point in settling down with all these other women, getting married, having kids, going through all the drama, if you're just going to end up with her anyway? I don't understand. Like, I'm not saying that's a safe bet. So I'm not saying, guys, get to like 50 and you'll have a woman like this. It's not going to happen for everybody. But I'm just saying, like, what's the rush? I think, you know, I say, it's often said in this industry, what is the one thing that holds guys back the most? And I've written it in my Male Advantage book. I've gone through a step-by-step play. I think the one thing that holds guys back the most is the fear of being alone forever and the desperation to find a woman. That's a very female mindset. If I was a woman and I was 27, I would have some level of desperation to find a man, settle down. That might sound misogynistic, whatnot, but from my point of view, from an adult logical viewpoint, you know, not this Twitter garbage that we've got now, from what I've seen, it's a smart strategy, okay? And the women in their 30s seem to be with guys in their late 40s, 50s, and 60s, which we'll get to in a minute, right? Not always the case, you know, but they seem to be. And I just think if I was a woman, I'd do that. But if I'm a man, which I am, shock, 31 years old, I am in no rush. And I've said this to people, and I've said this in my course, which you guys can get below. I've been a little bit more detailed, and I've been able to explain a few things because it's off channel. Like I said, it just keeps going up. I won't go into detail, but it's just like, why would I stop? And this doesn't mean I want to be a player. I want to get as many women as possible. I want to rack up my numbers. That's childish. I don't like that. I think that's childish. But what I'm saying is, if you know whoever you meet now, like for example, I believe in a 10-year age gap minimum between a man and a woman. I just think it works best. I think they age in parallel then. I think it works perfectly. If I'm 31, the 10-year age gap is 21. Well, 21-year-old women, not all, but they don't impress me. Are they beautiful? Yeah. Do they come with a lot of problems and baggage? Yeah. Right? I want somebody who I can have a conversation with. I'm not an animal. I'm not a beast. Right? I'm not a mindless idiot. I want somebody that 27-year-old actress, model, whatever she is. That's ideal. Somebody who's got some experience in life. Like people talk about body counts and whatnot. I'm sure hers isn't too high. I'm sure it's below 5, 6, whatever. And I'm sure it's long-term relationships. I think people overthink this garbage. She has probably got a good level of conversation where you could take her for a meal. She's probably got knowledge in the world, things she could teach you could teach her. Like you could stand being with her for like 2-3 weeks at a time on holiday. Right, 21-year-old's going to be tough. It's going to be different. Not all, but it's going to be a lot different. She's got things going on in her own life. She's trying to accomplish things. She's not going to be following you around all day. Do you know what I mean? That's attractive. Well, for the 10-year age gap, in that sense, I need to be 37. Right? So I'm just looking at it and thinking, well, I've got so much time here to just focus on business, to invest all my money, to invest all my time, to build something for me. Okay, well, along the way, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm not just going to be womanless during that whole time and then go, okay, now that, I've had nobody for 10 years, do you know what I mean? I'm saying, like, I'm going to have fun along the way, but just without the commitment, right? It can be long-term dating, it can be whatever, be honest up front. I don't think there's a problem with that. Just enjoy your life, travel the world, do everything you want to do. And then you look at all these guys and you're just like, well, then you're in the perfect situation. Do you know what I mean? And people are, oh, but they're famous and whatnot. Yeah, but so are the women, right? So it's like there's so many beautiful women that aren't famous. Like it's the same dynamic. I've seen it time and time again. I see my uncle, my dad. It's the same thing plays out every single time. So next up, I'm going to jump down to Michael Rubin. Okay. So this is Michael Rubin when he was young. And like I said, I'm honest. This is a balding, out of shape, cross-eyed guy. Let's just call a spade, right? That's what he is. He knew that himself. That's probably why he got as rich as he did, right? There's no mistake to this. 2 + 2 equals Michael Rubin billionaire. I don't think it does. Don't write that down. But yeah, you can see what's happened here. Okay, so he got as rich as possible. He managed to attract his first wife, and he looks a lot better. Like he's had his eyes done. People mock his eyes, but it's like he's obviously had them done that's why they look a bit eyeshadowy and whatnot. That's a weird thing to say. His wife's beautiful. She's clearly like an older woman, but she's beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like that's a stunning woman, and for this guy, that's perfect. However, what he's done is he started throwing these like white parties. And I have more pictures. I don't know where I put them. But, there's 2 basketball players there and Tom Brady. That's James Harden and Brooker guy, I think. So he's hanging around with all these guys now. He's throwing these parties. He's a billionaire. He's flexing his wealth. He's doing live setup and framing. At these parties is like Kendall Jenner, Kim Kardashian, right? There's models turning up. So 51-year-old Michael Rubin settles down with, I think, 31-year-old model, Camille. Okay, so this is the type of woman he really wanted. Let's be honest. Like, the other woman's beautiful, and at the time he probably thought it was great, but now that he's in this position, hence, he probably had a midlife crisis. I'm putting words in his head, but probably had that midlife crisis moment where he was like, I want some of that. I want that top level living. I'm a billionaire. I should be able to flex this. I see other billionaires living like that. Elon Musk, for example. I think I could do the same. Does it, lands the woman, she's now pregnant, they're married. Do you know what I mean? Like he's done the same thing. As soon as you can flex those options and you can push it, most guys do it anyway. So it's just like, yeah, I'm sure he loves his kids and his previous wife and she was great for him at the time. But he might as well have just done all that sooner and just gone and got the woman he actually wanted. Right, another one is Jeff Bezos. This Jeff Bezos when he's young. This is a great option for him at the time. This is fantastic. People would have looked and been like, Jeff, you've actually done really well there. This is them years later. And for you guys know now, like this guy's jacked. He's on TRT. He looks fantastic. He looks 10 times better now. Like not in this picture, he looks a lot better, but he looks 10 times better now than he did. Oh, where is it? Okay, so we got 2 Jeffs. Look at the difference in Jeffs. He looks 10 times better here than he did there, and he looks 10 times better now than he did there. So like this guy's upgraded himself by like 20 times. She looks like relatively the same. Like she's changed fashion trends, but she looks relatively the same. And look, this isn't my type. But you can see what Jeff's done here. Like, he's never had any other woman than probably the woman that he was married to. And he's obviously gone, wow, you want me? Like, I'm getting attention off this woman? Like, oh, all Spanish and exotic? Like, fake lips, boobs, whatever. I'm not here to criticize. But it's probably drove his brain crazy. And you could be the richest, most intelligent man on the planet. Your penis thinks for you. It happens every single time. And he's just lost half his net worth because of this decision. And you look at it and you're like, why didn't you just do this sooner? When you were building the business, instead of going, I'm just going to settle down with anybody, like, just focus on the business, focus on the gym, make yourself look as good as possible, keep getting your money up, you'd have a woman like that sooner. And you wouldn't have to do the whole, oh, throw that woman away thing. I just think it's rude. I just think it's a waste of time and money. And for him, it's fine because he's the richest man alive, or was. But for you guys, if your net worth is like 2 million and you find that, or let's say it's something like 1 million, and you're like, okay, I want to break this off with my current wife, you're down to 500,000, maybe less, maybe 400,000. You've then got to buy a house with that. That's not a great house. It's okay in certain areas, but it's not a great house. So now you're struggling because of that decision. Whereas if you had saved your money, put it straight into business and, tried to elevate yourself along the way and just focused on yourself during those years that you were panicked about settling down, well, guess what? You might be a 38-year-old guy who's now worth 10 times more. So you've got 10 million instead of the 1. You're in great shape. You then meet that woman. I'm not saying her, but I'm just saying Jeff's scenario. And then you go, oh, I'm happy. This is everything I ever wanted. This is perfect. Do you see what I mean? Like that time and money that's being put into like building that family, which look, might be your thing. And if that's your thing, go for it. I've got no problem with that. But just don't in 10, 15 years time sit there and be like, no, it's not right for me anymore. I found this young 22-year-old, because then I'm going to call bullshit on it. So many guys do this. And like I said, this time and time again. So Brad Pitt was dating this woman, 59 years old. And I know it's Brad Pitt, it's different, right? And then he's dating this woman, and now that he's 60, she's still like 31. It's never ending as long as you keep yourself in shape. Like people say, oh yeah, but women don't want old guys. I saw an article recently about, I don't know, it was one of the singers, Olivia Rodrigo, I think that's her name. And they were like, fans shocked at age of boyfriend. She's like 19 and he's like 26, 27 or something. And it's like, fans are shocked at age difference. Like, no, it's not even a problem, man. It's a problem unless it's you. Once it's you and it's a richer, older guy, girls are like, oh yeah, it's great, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, it happens time and time again. It's more normal, it's more sustainable, it actually works, and yet nobody can see it coming. And like I said, so many guys just waste years and years and years. Just check, like, those years that you're wasting, you could be putting into building and then finally getting to where you actually want to get. That's the key word here. Actually want to get. Who else do we have? So DiCaprio. So that was his, I think, previous... Oh, that's his current woman. I think that's his previous woman. It's ridiculous, isn't it, at his age? It's unbelievable. And these are all the women that he's just dated throughout the years. So basically what I'm saying, I was talking to you guys about the long-term thing. Long-term dating, not really committing, just being like, yeah, that was fun for like 6 months. We had a great year together, but I don't really want to settle down. Obviously, that's what you want. I think we should go our separate ways. He's got options. It's not a problem. So throughout all of those years, he's not really upset anybody. He spent some great time with these women. And at the end of all of this, he could settle down with somebody now, have some kids, and be like, I did everything. I enjoyed my life. I had my kids. Now, people's danger is, I don't want to be too old when I have kids. I'll have the bad back. I won't be able to play with them and stuff like that. Look, Leo's so rich, it's different rules. But I'm telling you, at 31, I've never boxed better. I've never moved better. I've never been quicker at sprinting, which is crazy because I used to be a sprinter. I've compared pictures of me from 10 years ago to now, 5 years ago to now. I look younger now. Like, I don't drink alcohol, I don't have any sugar, salt's down to a bare minimum. I don't put any on food, it's whatever's in the food and it's all good food. I go to sleep early, skincare routines, like I take care of my body, exercise regularly, run. Like, I don't really see the issue. I think people are thinking that like 30 is what it used to be 100 years ago. It's like, it's completely different now. I know people that are in their 50s. Like, my boxing coach is 47, 48, and he moves like an 18-year-old. He would batter anybody. He looks about 28, 29 years old. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's bad for people who want to live average, who want to live a normal life, who just want to sit there and eat Pop-Tarts all night and watch TV and masturbate. Like, it's bad for you. Settle down, get a wife, have some kids, quick. You're in trouble. For anybody with any level of ambition, you don't know what you're going to be yet. Remember the Facebook movie? I said this to my friend yesterday. When he's like, it's like throwing the hottest party on campus and then somebody telling you it has to be over by 10. I think he says 10. That's the same thing. It's like you're creating your perfect man, which is yourself. You're trying to throw the hottest party on campus, which is you, but then you're saying, oh, but it has to be over by 10, which is settling down early with the first woman that finds you attractive who has a nice pair of eyes. Like, that's what so many guys are doing. And then 10 years later, they're going, damn, do you know what? I want to throw another party. Like, it's this... I've said it so many times now. Like, people must be getting it. Now, somebody will say out there, well, there must be relationships that do work. Yeah, there is. I've got a few here. So this has worked. Daniel Craig with his missus. Now, this woman, I remember seeing her in The Mummy, the film back in the day when I was young. She looked pretty much exactly the same in The Mummy as she does today. Okay, this woman's stunning. She's like 53 and she looks pretty much like this now. She looked pretty much like that, if just slightly better, when she was like in her late 20s. That's easy to maintain. If you're coming home to that every night, you've got history together, you've got kids together, you've been together 20 odd years, and you know she's a super intelligent woman, articulate, and she looks like that. I'm not leaving her. Would you guys leave that? If you were in your 50s and she was in her 50s, but she looked like that, would you leave? I wouldn't, personally. Do you see what I mean? I'm not saying it all comes down to beauty, but she's taking care of herself, clearly. So the relationships that work are either when there's a big age gap or the woman's aged fantastically, because men do put a heavy reliance on beauty. And I think by shying away from that and shying away of who you're going to become and what options you're going to have, and then suddenly how your mind's going to change and how, oh, maybe I want something new now. Maybe, oh, I always thought that was off limits for me. Now that's accessible to me. I kind of want it. You know, if you can just tackle those two problems, you can get long-term sustainable relationship with a good woman and have a family that doesn't break up. But I think men are hurting women because of it. Later down the line, of course. But look, this worked as well. Because here, I think he was in his 50s here and she was like 29 when they first met. She's now like 54 and he's about 79. It works. Do you see what I mean? Oh, successful relationship. They love each other still. See, marriage is... Yeah, when you've got a fat age gap, when you've got a massive gap between you, and like, she looks better there than she does there. But if I looked like that, I'd be delighted that my missus looked like that. If I was hopping into bed with her every night looking like that, and I looked like this, I looked like Doc from... I nearly said Rick and Morty. Yeah, I look like Doc from Back to the Future. I would be delighted that I'm hopping into bed with her. And that's why it works. That is why it works. Because back then, she's benefiting and he's benefiting. I've got a beautiful young woman on my arm, perfect for me. I look like the man. She's thinking, I've got this high-level guy who's got a lot of money, who socially can get me into a lot of circles. I'm an actress too. This is going to be great for my career and life. Like, everything's great. And I'm sure he's a funny, like, the stories he's got and whatnot. Like, I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure if you sat down with him for hours, you wouldn't be bored, put it that way. Now, in this scenario, she's got somebody long-term that's still there for her that she loves. He's not gone anywhere. And he still finds her wildly attractive. It works. It still works. Okay, so it worked here, it works there. If he was the same age as her, and he looked like that now, there's a chance that he'd look at her and go, oh, there's a new young Hollywood actress who's taking, you know, an interest in me. I might leave. It just happens. I know it's sad to say, it's horrible, but it happens. Now you tackle that by being smart. You focus on yourself. You push yourself up to the highest possible level in life. I don't know, it might take you till like 35, 36, 37. He was 50 something. I know it's different when you're famous, but he was 50 settling down with a 29-year-old. The rush isn't there, guys. The rush isn't there. I promise you. You know, if you could be a 45-year-old guy and there's a 29-year-old supermodel who's ready to retire and you're at such a level, you meet each other. Now, not everyone's going to get to that level. Not every guy's going to be at that level, but the options are out there. You know, you could be a 35-year-old guy settling down with a 26-year-old woman who's just come out of a 6-year relationship. That's perfect. You're the second guy. You're only the second guy she's ever been with. And her first guy, she was in love with him, but he was broke, and that's why she broke it off. Because as she got older, she went, I want more things in life. This isn't working for me anymore. And then it works out with you, and it's long. And there's the age gap is, I don't know what numbers I said, but let's say it's 11, 12 years. Oh, perfect. Do you know what I mean? Because when you're 50, she's going to be 38. She's still going to look great. You're going to be kind of old and wrinkly. Well, that's ideal. I'm less worried about the beauty now, like more about the connection. This is working perfectly. Okay, great choice. But I think when men and women settle down at the same age, it's just suicide. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to make videos on this anymore, guys. There's one more, actually. Jason Statham. But I said I wasn't going to make videos on these sort of topics anymore, but this one I had to. After seeing Gary Vee, I was like, I have to make this video because the guys need to see it. This is less about women. This is more about life choices. The exact road map that you have to take. You know, the biggest mistake for men is going, I think I love her. We're going to be together forever. And then 10 years later, they're like, I hate her. I don't know why, but I just do. Or I love her, but I don't find her attractive. I'm hopping into bed every night, and it's just not doing it for me anymore. And vice versa, it happens to women. This isn't a one-way channel. You know, the amount of women that I know, because I've got my mum, my sister, I've got a lot of women around me that tell stories about, you know, girls that I've dated that tell stories about, oh, my friend was married for 6 months, and all he did once he was married was sit in front of the TV and watch, you know, and watch sports and just play on his PlayStation. They didn't have sex for 6 months after they got married. She had to leave him. She realized that that was going to be the rest of her life. It happens both ways, right? You realize, oh, actually, this isn't quite what I wanted. You know, I settled down with the local guy in the local town. 2 years later, I'm bored. That guy from the big city who's flying around the world is now exciting me. Why did I settle down so early? It happens both ways, right? But I'm saying for men, this story plays out time and time and time and time and time again. And if you want to avoid it, if you don't want your net worth slashed in half, and if you don't want all the problems and troubles that come with it, and also the handcuffs, imagine being that 35-year-old guy who has got all these options and he's going, oh my God, I'm a kid in a candy store with no money. Because that's what it feels like. And then it's not fair on that woman because you're like, oh, I really want to leave you. Do I cheat? Do I divorce you? Like, it's just horrible. It's like you're painting yourself into a corner because you were scared that you wouldn't have anything, that you'd be left on your own. You got to be comfortable with being on your own. Build yourself up to who you actually want to be, so that then you can actually get who you want, and then it's a genuine relationship. It's not just, oh, I'm with her for the time being, like Gary Vee. Jason Statham did the same thing. He was in his late 30s, and he got with I think it was 21-year-old. She might have even been younger, which 21's like my limit. But I think she was like 21 or younger, Kelly Brook, who was stunning, was like the best looking woman in the world for a short period of time. Didn't really work out with her. At like 46, he meets Rosie Huntington, who's in her like mid-20s. And now they're married and they've got kids and he's the happiest he's ever been. He's got stability, he's got family, he's got everything he ever wanted. He did that at like 46. The short, bold guy. Now, I know he's famous, but I can't show you non-famous guys, can I? Oh, here's John. He lives down at 14 Oakwood Lane. Like, you're not going to know. It's just not going to have any relevance, is it? So, but that's the whole video, guys. We've gone over an hour, so I think that's going to do it. My throat's on fire. Like I said, I've just recorded 2 new 43-minute videos for the course, so they're going to be on there. I'd be tempted to put this one on as well, but I don't think it's quite relevant. So I've got 2 43-minute videos. So if an hour wasn't enough, go and check them out, guys. I'll see you soon.